Nice.
Never thought about doing this professionally.
I am a singer
Are you really?
for Dublin Abbey.
Oh, very good.
We'll speak to that. We've had
Yes,
a couple
please.
of interesting interactions in haunted places. I'll wait for Tira to take us there.
Nice.
All right.
I feel like I'm going to do karaoke.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Hey, hi.
Are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, we'll do a little opening music.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome everyone to Our Town
okay.
Podcast.
Right.
Please take a moment to like and subscribe, share if you can, and review if available. We'd love to hear from you, so comment below and tell us how we're doing. Don't forget to visit ourtownpodcast.com for all the links and join the members only section of the website or sign up on Patreon. Now here are the boys of Our Town Podcast.
Yay! My daughter does that, and she does a great job every time. Every time she just nails it.
Nailed it every time,
Going
yep.
places. They get going places.
Well, welcome everybody to a special edition of Our Town Podcast. This is a little extra show for you. We've got some folks here from Coastal Paranormal. It is a paranormal investigation group, and you correct me if I say anything wrong, based right here in Renton.
Well, we do Washington and California.
Oh,
Nice.
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the Tiara. You're the president,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
founder.
I like CEO.
CEO
Yeah,
of
we'll
ghost
stick with
hunting. I
that.
love it.
Yeah.
Is ghost hunting an okay term?
I mean, it's acceptable.
Okay.
We go by paranormal investigators because
Okay.
we'll
I
talk
love
more
it.
about that. But
Love it.
Because I
Gotcha.
Yeah.
think ghost
Gotcha.
hunting isn't that a TM for those guys from
For the TV show?
yeah, it might be trademarked.
Aggressive, right?
Don't care about that.
Yeah, hunting implies that you're trying to do harm to what you're...
Yeah, that kind of
for,
does.
right?
Yeah,
I would think, right?
Yeah, and also we've got Emma, who's a member of the group as well, and they are going to talk to us a little bit about what they do, what it entails. Hopefully, thrill us with some scary stories, maybe some interesting stories.
Interesting, yes.
Okay, good.
100%.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So you mentioned that you are Washington State and California. How many members do you roughly have? I know. I think you were seeking more members as well, too.
We're small, and that's just because we haven't really put ourselves out there. Like where you guys found us is the first time I actually went public.
Oh, okay.
Because
Oh, wow.
there's a little bit of a stigma, right?
Sure.
Believing in ghosts or thinking about believing in ghosts and actively looking for them. So
Yeah.
we
It's
didn't
just,
really
sure.
put it out there until recently.
Yeah. Do you have then folks that are based, live in California then, and then up here? Okay.
Yeah, I've got family down there.
Okay.
So it's me. I do both.
And
And
you
then
just-
I drag her when I can.
Hop right over Oregon, just like Oregon.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I mean, it's just boring.
Well, that's why we went with Coast Paranormal.
Yeah.
So eventually.
Well, you'll get some members
Eventually.
down there, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we grow.
Yeah. So are you guys like, what's the term, bistatal? Do you go back and forth? I don't know if that's a word. I just TM that. So
geez, wow.
do you guys go back and
I
forth
can't
for
take that one.
investigation?
We are not geo, how's they say, bachelorettes or
Nice.
geo bachelors. We do not roam.
Yes.
This is our home.
Nice.
As we mentioned, we have family. And
Okay.
Tira also has family, so do I. And I also have family up in Canada too.
Oh.
And they've since passed my grandmother, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we also have another member. Remember, we're talking about Ricky? He says he's a sensitive. That'd be the only
sure.
one in the group.
Oh.
He's also in my band, Dublin Abbey, and he has quite a few experiences.
Wow.
Things that we just can't quite
I
explain.
think I've heard of that band.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we certainly have now.
They were at JP's this weekend.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure.
And when you say sensitive, do you mean like sensitive to otherworldly, paranormal
Correct.
stuff? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I wonder, is some of it a technique? Is some of it just opening yourself to the possibility? What brings, you know what I mean? It's like,
Okay, well, I'm not a psychic, and I don't know if I even believe in psychics. But to me, I feel like some people might have a heightened intuition. And then potentially through meditation or practice or whatever, they have more access to more information than some of us. Because I've had a lot of, I've met with a lot of psychics, and personally, it never feels to go right for me, but my aunt had an undeniable experience. And even as a skeptic, I'm like, I can't argue my way out of this one. Like, she told us when, where, and how somebody died a year before his body was discovered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it somebody close to her? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the psychic,
Okay.
but close to my aunt, who she was reading for.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And experience counts, right? These events happening counts.
Yeah.
Just because it can't be done in a double-blind study doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
But they do studies. There are a lot
Sure.
of
Oh, no,
studies
plenty.
out
No,
there.
plenty.
And that's, that's not my,
I like Dr. Joe
not my
Dispenza.
wheelhouse. But I want to believe, but my mom passed away in 2007. And at the time I was pregnant, but I didn't look pregnant. If I wore a sweatshirt, you'd never know. And we went to see a well-known psychic, and he called on us out of 1,000 people. And he said a lot of things that really did sound like my mom. But it always bothered me that if a mother's gonna come to her daughter who is pregnant with her first child, who was pregnant while she died, she might say something about it, and there was nothing. And I always wonder, well, if I had a big belly, would something have been mentioned? And so it just never sat right with me. So that's why it's like, I'm a skeptic, but then, if the right situation occurred, I believe. So I'm not
like your
gonna
aunt.
say,
You can't really explain that.
I can't. I've tried. I can't argue that down. I documented it. I heard the tape before he was found. So, and he went to great lengths to not be found.
Is that like that experience or another experience? Is that what led you guys to pick up this kind of work and do this?
Do you want to go first on this one?
Sure, I'll give you a break. I think what gravitated me here is I too had some things that I could not explain. And so did my father, so did my grandmother, so did my uncle. None of us talked about it until a certain event occurred. Now, my grandfather passed away, perfectly normal, right? This happens. And I came home from college to take care of my grandmother because she was not taking care of herself that well. And she had, fragile health at that point. She was 88. And I walked by grandfather's study and she was talking to him, which, again, you would think perfectly normal. This is, some people deal with their grief.
Yeah.
But she was looking for something that he was instructing her to find within the library. And they were having a legit conversation, except I could not hear him. So I walked by, and here's the important thing, the thing that give you pause. So when we were performing at one of the two haunted places, Patrick saw something he could not explain, turned around really quick, went back, and saw that the individual that he swore was there had disappeared. This is the same thing. I walked by, something didn't quite register, I went back, and I just watched and listened to her. Then she passed. And we were supposed to bring her back to the home, right? And she told me that grandfather was waiting for her in the home and that they were supposed to pass together through their home. Now, when we couldn't bring her back and she passed at the hospital, she mentioned this. And she was very concerned. Okay? Not because she wanted to pass at her home. She really didn't care. But she was concerned about grandfather. I'm like, what do you mean? And you got to understand, it was hard for her to breathe. We couldn't really communicate. And when we arrived back at the home without grandfather, grandmother, we started to package their estate. Uncle stopped sleeping in the study, but we couldn't figure out why. He wouldn't talk. He was just would not go into the house. He would stand by the threshold. He would not come in. All right, understandable. That makes sense, right? Nothing too odd about that. Then my father wouldn't sleep in their guest bedroom, which is right next to my grandfather's bedroom. He would sleep in the front room on the couch, which is weird because he always slept in grandmother's sewing room, which was like their guest bedroom number 2, and I was in their guest bedroom number 1. He stopped sleeping there. Again, triangulation 1, 2. What's the third event that made me ask questions is I heard doors slam in the middle of the night. I heard my grandfather's footsteps on the carpet. I heard him yelling for her. Okay?
Wow.
At first I thought, I'm in between sleep, but this went on for weeks. I would hear doors open and close. And I said, Dad, how come the doors open and close? You're like, well, maybe it's a pressure thing. I'm like, well, what about the sliding glass door in the hallway for the closet? He was looking for her clothes. He's opened these closets. He's looking to see where she is. Did she pack? Did she leave? Did she move? And finally, he talked to me one night. He was not happy. I woke with him over my bed yelling at me, "Where's Roberta?" Now, my grandfather could be quite intimidating. Now, a little bit about him. He was lead of the Toledo Hospital. He was a lead cancer researcher. He pioneered chemotherapy back in the 50s. He rescued my grandmother from one of the first mastectomies and chemo. So he was an alpha leading type. He set up the forensics department for the LAPD back in 1932 or 39. So he was very much a leader. And to have him angry at me like that when he's supposed to be not here was something not only I could not square, but was terrifying. So I'm talking to him, I'm crying. And I told him the story. Grandmother couldn't come. You're a doctor, We tried to carry her out. She was not stable. She was going to die on the way home. She could not come and die in the home, and you two couldn't go together. But I'm telling you, Grandpa, she told me that she'd meet you at the back left-hand corner of heaven, just like when my dad was a boy. They would get separated when they'd go shopping, and my grandmother said, honey, just meet me in the back left-hand corner of the store. So I get chills. I'm talking about this. So I start crying, and he backs away, and he disappears into the closet. So I open the doors. I open the door. I run down the hall. I look into the bedroom because I've done this before for weeks now. When I heard him, I fling open my door. I run out to try to catch him. But he's never there, except for some reason he's there tonight. Then I run down the hallway to my dad's bedroom, and I walk over him and I look at my dad. I don't say anything. I look at him. Dad. He wakes up and I said, how long have you been seeing grandfather? And he said, we're not going to talk about this to anybody. Here I am, right? So that's why Uncle
What age are you at this point?
I am 24.
Okay, you said right out of college. Let me ask you, when you heard your grandmother, and it was in the library or the study, and you heard her talking, you kind of had to take that pause and sort of turn around. Did you have a physical reaction? Like, was there a physical something that happened to your body that you felt?
Well, at first I walked by, and I'd seen her talking to him before.
What was your feeling when you first had that?
It's like if I were to walk down this street right here, and out of the corner of my eye, I would see an elephant in one of the stores. I would think that's odd. So I would turn around and go back to see, well, maybe it's a stuffed elephant.
Right.
So then I go back and I look at it. No, it's not a stuffed elephant. It's an actual elephant in there. So then pins and needles like adrenaline. And then I'm like, I can't speak. I don't want to interrupt. but he's instructing her to find $100 bill that he has put. Now let me
Very,
paint the
very
study for
specific
you.
things.
He had thousands of books. They had a ladder that you would have to climb on one of the 3 walls in his study.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
I'm jealous.
She's on a ladder. My 88-year-old grandmother's on a ladder. All right? Now, how many hundreds, if not thousands, of books? She's having a conversation with him. He's saying, not that one, or no, because she's saying, oh, you mean this one to the left? To the left, 2 or 3. Oh, okay, this one. Okay, what am I supposed to find? All right, I got it. What do I do now?
Just a real full-on
I mean,
conversation.
a full-on conversation, and I'm having an oh my God moment over here, and I start to sweat, and so I melt into the wall because I know she's not crazy, and then I'm like, do I help her down the ladder? So I watched her scale down the ladder, and she puts the book binding on the step of the ladder, and she opens it up, and she says, okay, now what? And he must have said flip through the pages. She flipped through the pages and a $100 bill came out.
Oh man, and it's like, I don't want to say minutia, but it's like a small thing. It's not like he's telling her to, find the wills or something like that. It's to find $100 in a
Just
book.
something very specific. And what is it, though? Is it a manifestation of will from another place? Is it an echo of some desire that they had while they were here? You know what I mean? It's like-
idea with like what she's talking about is that right before you're going to pass away, the veil gets thinner and there's more energy, if you will, around you. So the theory, and theory is a word I'm going to say a lot throughout talking about this subject, but the theory is that spirits are energy, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. So when the energy that powers us leaves, where does it go?
Yeah, that's the question, right? And does it maintain us? Right? Are
Well,
we still
supposedly,
the
yes.
chief architect of its action?
Yeah. And I think, again, the theories are it's a choice, or people get stuck, they're overly attached to something or
maybe
someone.
it's one of the things that have to happen throughout time for some greater destiny. You know what I mean? All of the things that we just find to be minutia, but the things we need to be guided into, right? They might not seem impacting now, but we don't know what that means. You know, in the grand
Well,
scheme,
it
Getting into my
depends
other
on-
favorite topic.
We just don't know.
Right?
Talking about soul growth.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother podcast. I could go on for hours about.
Well, to your point, my grandfather was very, very controlling, and my grandmother was a very strong being, and so their relationship it lasted their whole lives basically. But he was, maybe that's why he was here. I know you're going to give my books away, and they're not getting this, because when they were married, remember the Depression, there was no money.
$100 is a lot of money.
They pinned $100 bill to the hood of their car, and that's all they had when they got back from their honeymoon. So that $100 had significance
that
more
was
than
going to
just
start their
monetary.
life. Yeah, that was the spark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Tiara, I kind of maybe heard a little more skepticism in the beginning from you when you sort of. Do you come from this from more of a scientific sort of place for you, or was there something similar to what Emma had that maybe happened to you that kind of pushed you into?
A little bit of both, or more. I mean, I'm a optimistic skeptic. I want to believe.
Sure, yeah. I need that tattoo.
Right? I'm an optimistic trademark. That one's
TM right
mine.
there.
Maybe we can trade our trademarks. No, when I was a child, I grew up in all over Bellevue and Renton, and we lived in some apartments behind Crossroads Mall. Then they were known as Crossroads Village. And I was maybe about 4 years old, and it was the daytime. And we were a couple kids and I were playing in our room. And I remember the blinds being drawn, so it's like afternoon when the sun's on the other side of the building, so it's not real light, but it's not dark. And I remember we flopped down on the bed and looked towards the middle of the room, and there was like a shapeless mist, like heavy
Shadow
smoke.
people.
No, but shadow people are a thing, and almost everyone experiences that. Seeing things out of the corner of your eye, especially in the dark. Is it your mind?
It's a
Is it
thing.
something?
That's kind of an unanswerable question.
Can
That's a question
confirm.
of,
Yeah.
worldview.
I haven't met anybody who hasn't thought they saw a shadow out of
No,
the
no,
corner of their eye.
I've openly warned things. Oh yeah, no, I say it out loud. I say I will remember forever.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I know you were there. So from that point on, and some other just like really creepy, all my memories of living in that apartment, they're just creepy. They all have like a horror movie darkness about them.
Bummer.
And I know, right? So after we saw that, I remember running out of the room. I'm the only one who remembers it. So did I make it up as a highly creative ADHD kid in the 80s when E.T. had just come out? And yeah, maybe, but it
Why would
stayed
that
with me.
lower the value of it as experience?
I'm just saying that
Right.
I cannot stand behind that I saw a ghost.
Sure.
But
I think
But you
kids
saw it.
see
You felt
these things
something.
because they don't
It's-
have.
it's
their
in there.
ego has different motivations, right?
Right.
An adult ego wants to survive because we taste our mortality or whatever, right?
Right.
So we try to come up with reasons to push back against the infinite or whatever because it trips us out.
Yeah.
But kids don't care, right? Kids are open to the universe being universe. They don't box it in, right? Because they
Yeah.
have no fear of it. Yeah.
Well, my kids have fear of it.
Bummer.
I'm not allowed to talk about.
Do your kids join with you?
Oh no.
No, no,
Mine
no.
did
Okay.
once, remember?
Yeah, and then was fired. Promptly.
Nice. Well, it's not bad to fire your children.
They were fired. Why? Why were they fired?
It's not.
What they do.
What they do?
Well, my teenager is 100% skeptic and won't even entertain the idea.
Well, that's
All
a
the way-
doubter then, right?
Yeah.
A skeptic is just, and I really try hard in my life to be data driven,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So find data that can be, seen to be trustable, right?
Which is
And
what led us here.
Yeah, no, that is the scientific
Yeah.
method. That is healthy. And that, of course that's skepticism.
Yeah.
But that's terribly healthy, right? That's the age of reason. It's
Right.
actually quite important.
Yeah.
So yeah, to discount things offhand is ridiculous. And
I mean, I agree. And when she watches this,
Are those apartments still there?
they are. They're now
okay.
called the Landmark.
Any reports of weird goings-ons over the year that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I posted a Google review not too long ago asking, hey, is this place haunted? Anybody have any experiences? So they haven't deleted it yet, so we'll see. And I've tried researching the land. I've tried, looking through archive newspapers. I can't find anything.
Yeah, because it's always, and forgive me, for the shows and the movies and that stuff, it's always like an old insane asylum or an
Prison.
old prison or a hospital or something. But really,
anything like
any,
that,
any
like or
structure.
graveyards or anything like that.
I can tell you that the Pac Med building in Seattle, it is haunted.
I,
you get us in there?
There's a lot of pain in hospitals, right?
I can't get you in there.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Do you have an attorney?
No, I don't have any of that. But when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, that's where we would go for doctor's appointments and stuff. And there was, I remember one visit to the doctor, and we were walking down this hallway and said, "Hey, Mom, is there any other way we can get to that office we need to go? Because I don't want to go down that hallway." because I was getting just the hair in the back of my neck, my arms were all standing up, the hair in the arms were standing up, and I was like, I don't want to go that way. So we went around the long way, and she's like, why did you not want to go down there? I was like, I don't know, I just had a really weird feeling about that hallway, and I didn't want to go through there.
What age were you at that point?
I was like 12 or 13.
Oh, yeah, no, I think that's very important to listen to that, right?
Yeah,
The
you had a
heebie-jeebies or whatever you want to
biological
call it.
response.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's
Yes.
a physical response to and
Something.
I didn't
Just
know it
'cause
at
it's
the time,
unseen
but
doesn't
that
mean it
was
doesn't exist.
that hospital used to be the VA hospital back in the day, and it was also like where they used to house the criminally insane.
Well,
So that place, I used to call it the Ghostbusters building because I didn't know what it was
it's a
called.
totally cool
Because
building.
it looks like the building from the original Ghostbusters.
At the beginning of Beacon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beacon Hill. Yeah, it's now I think an Amazon building, so I think Amazon owns it.
And then it's definitely haunted.
So if there's
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
Amazon employees
Yeah, but what's the...
Can you let us in there for
Yeah.
just give us your stories.
Just put on, like, the way I found to become invisible is either carry a construction cone, put on a vest, but a mop. If you have a mop and a bucket, nobody sees you. They're like, nope, don't want to be involved.
You're
This is-
giving
you can walk
it
anywhere.
away.
Yeah.
Mike, you're not supposed to say it on camera.
They can't even hear me say the word. They're like, mop, 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 mop. Don't even know what a mop is.
Yeah.
I know people who, if you put a mop in a lineup, wouldn't even know what it was. I've spent an inordinate amount of my life mopping after other humans. I'll come back as a ghost with a mop.
With a mop.
Yeah,
My-
see this happen.
I mean, I'm going to come back as a ghost just for fun.
Nice.
And hang
I
out
just-
with your
Good
13-year-old.
recipe hints.
We'll hopefully be way older by then.
Right? Way
older.
Yes,
Pretty
yes.
sure I'm going to live to be.
But what is it?
way
Is
too
it an
old.
extension of our will? Because our will is our soul's desires manifested. Right?
You mean what is a ghost? Or
yes, or
what
whatever
is-
that is, that interaction from beyond, that interaction from post-death, right? Death in
Well,
air
I
quotes.
think
Yeah.
so. The
And I don't
person
expect a perfect answer because it's an unknowable question.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
But
we
what's
had
your idea
scientific
behind this?
evidence,
Yes,
we
yes,
wouldn't be
yes.
here.
Yep, 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 yep.
Right? It would be like,
It's just because it's bigger than our science. That's
Well, it
why
is,
that question is
and-
not going to be answered through science. And no
I-
offense to science.
I think it
it's just bigger
could
than that.
be.
Yeah.
And so when we
Oh,
get to
okay.
some of the toys, I mean,
right.
it's possible that technology will catch up with
Nice.
it. But
Jeez.
I think it's,
you,
again,
science.
attachments, sudden passings where maybe someone was confused, or like what happened in her situation, somebody didn't pass away where they were supposed to, or, I mean, we
Like a
don't really
regret
know.
or
They weren't ready.
yeah.
They had some unfinished business and they couldn't come back to attend to that. I also think there's some sort of mathematical equation somewhere that we haven't discovered yet that could explain all other types of universes or planes that could
Sure.
coexist in relative
Yeah.
same time.
Or
and
even the
space.
chunks of time
But you
displaced
can't
in
disprove
our own.
it.
Yeah, sure. And
Most of
yes, but-
physics is still a theory.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, and we're tiny mortal beings, right? And God blesses each and every one. But yeah, come on. There's the unknowable, and that's fine that it is the unknowable. That's fine. That's
No.
not bad.
It's not.
Awesome, geez.
I respectfully disagree. I do want to
Do you
know.
think humans can know, and I'm going to put a capital letter on that, know existence, know... We
No,
can
I think our brains would explode.
kind of, right? And
I don't think
that's
we
the
can
part
handle
that I'm
it.
trying to be okay with.
When
So
we
I say I'm
obsess
okay-
over
that I can't know.
Cybertrucks and the newest
Oh, yeah.
iPhones,
Yeah.
and when we're so
Rock and roll,
materially
yes.
focused, I feel like our brains are almost shrinking in what we're able to accept. So I'm
I
very
yeah,
interested in UFOs.
Sure.
They have a picture.
Because that's within our
Can't see.
experience. We can experience those things, right?
And part of it is, well, what if there's no disclosure because what we would learn is just too much for us to comprehend. Like, if it completely restructured the fabric of society.
I kind of think it would and it wouldn't. I think in more religious, air quotes, times, it would have had a larger impact. But I think because I hang out with who I hang out with, I forget how many religious people there really are.
Right.
There's a bunch. There's more than 10.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
There's a couple more, one or two.
Have you guys have actually gone out and investigated any place in the area?
So we're working on a few places right now that will be posted on our website when they're confirmed. But we've gone to Manresa Castle a few times in Port Townsend. And that was really kind of what got us into this. So circling
Is that
back.
Circle House in Port Townsend?
No, it's a castle.
Oh,
Right.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's no downside to taking that journey, right? That's a great weekend.
Well, and that's the thing. So this is how this started. So I was really interested always in ghosts because I thought maybe I saw one. And then when my mother passed away, she died pretty young of cancer, and I was there with her. And I just I didn't want to accept that that's just the end. So I went on this mission, like learning everything I could about life after death. And right around that time was when the show Ghost Hunters, pre-Ghost Adventures, came out, and my friend was like, "Oh, have you seen this show?" And so I really got into that and wanted to do it for years, but I was too afraid. I was too afraid I would find something and then I would have to deal with it, or maybe it would be scary.
Well, and there's no way back. Once you know something, you cannot unknow it. So once you know that there's non-typical realities, you can't tell yourself, oh, no, it's just regular old-fashioned life again.
Yeah.
Right? There's no going back.
The thing I liked about Ghost Hunters is they would go
Debunk.
They would debunk things. They came to Seattle and they did the Moore Theater, and they said that the mezzanine, I think it was haunted, and it turned out it was just bad wiring, and there was no shielding on the wires, and people would feel the electricity going through there because there were no shielding on the wires.
Oh, man.
But,
Yeah, that's
called a
terrible.
building
Yeah, it's not up to code.
Yeah, they did.
they also,
Talk about creepy.
They also did part of the Seattle Underground, which they didn't get to the part where they wanted to go because that was now part of somebody's server farm. You couldn't go in that basement anymore. But one of the places I always thought they should have done was the public market.
Yeah.
Because
A lot of stubbed toes in that.
one of the stories of the public market was of this woman who fell through the floor in the market. And I have a connection to that only because my dad's father's, at that point, second or third wife, that was her.
Oh, so it's real. It's documented.
She
Okay.
fell through the floor.
She passed away.
And died on
Jeez,
impact.
that's terrible.
Jeez, Todd, we didn't know this
didn't
story.
know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was, the way my dad was kind of a dick, so he would say things like, she was a fat Indian woman, and so she was overweight, and the floorboards were kind of weak, and then she walked in, it was the barber shop on, I think, the second floor. She fell through that floor into the level below, and whatever she fell on, she died.
Oh, man. That's a horrible
So
story.
I could imagine her not transitioning.
Sure.
Because that would have been
surprise.
It was unexpected.
painful,
And
traumatic,
just so
sudden.
unjust, evidently,
Yeah.
right? It's like, because I really do like to believe in a cosmic justice, just because I'm a sucker, right? But why not? It's as probable as anything else,
Right.
right? And it does seem to me that nature likes balance, right? So, and I tend to think of justice as balance, right, between, and
The yin yang.
Yes,
I'm
right,
I'm
and the balance
tad
thereof,
obsessed.
right? Because you can't have one without the other, right?
Yeah.
And
I
if
don't
they
know
don't
if
stay
it's,
balanced, it's not the thing.
Right.
I don't know if it still exists, but there used to be a Seattle tour of haunted places in Seattle.
I did a walking tour once.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Did
It
you
was
have
fun.
any?
No, I learned some really cool information. Anyone who's even remotely interested in old buildings or places and their backstories, those tours are always worth it, even if you don't believe in the paranormal, because you're going to learn some really cool lore.
there were people being kidnapped and indentured on boats.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
there
really
was.
did happen.
Yeah, there's
That would leave
definitely a
bad
lot of
echo,
darkness
right?
in
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
places
Cities
too.
in general.
Yeah.
I think, and nature isn't always, sunshine and lollipops.
The
Because
term-
Earth is not, it's easy, but it ain't that easy,
The term Shanghai actually originated in Portland, Oregon, because
Right,
people
the
were
tunnels.
The people were falling into the tunnels after they got drunk. They would be in the bar, and the floor would open up, and they would land on
Yeah.
some bedding on down below. Then they'd wake up on out in the
It
middle
just
of
seems
the
so
ocean.
caveman, but it was like, not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Shanghai tunnels is on the list.
Nice.
I would
Yeah,
think,
I would think so.
But so what, in your experience, are there positive reverberations or whatever this is, reaching out?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
I would think so.
the motivations can vary, right?
I've experienced those ones actually. I lived. In
I think we have a new recruit.
Yeah.
I lived in a house out in Juanita neighborhood of Kirkland, and my housemates were like, "Just so you know, there are others that live in the house." I was like, "Others?" Like the movie. I was like, "Oh, others. Gotcha. Okay, so what are they? Are they nice? Are they friendly?" It's like, they torment the cats, but they're okay. The cat, so one of the three others that lived in the house was a child, and the child would play with the cats, and the cats didn't really like it as much. I kind of didn't really believe them until one day I saw my cat fighting with something that wasn't there, and he was swiping at, he was trying to hit something with his claws out. There was nothing there. And he ran and he was hissing and whatever else. And I go, what are you doing? And I looked down and there was nothing, and I was the only one in the house. I was like, okay, well maybe that was the kid that I was told about. And there was an adult male, and there was another, I think, a teen or something.
Speaking of animals and cats, Mike brought this up when we were having dinner a little bit ago. Not just humans, but can all living creatures?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did a
Possess-
consciousness thing,
Yeah.
right? Because I believe that, many of my cats certainly are beings. They know they exist.
Yeah.
They know who I am. You know what I mean? So do you think it's an aspect of that being?
That's what they say. They say that their animals can be spirits or ghosts too.
Have you ever experienced such a thing?
Not personally.
Yeah.
I have between sleep and awake, but I knew I was quasi-dreaming.
Sure. What do you think
That
that
was
state
different.
is? It just kind of on the same subject. What is that state to you? What does that state mean?
Well, I think it might be our subconscious reaching out for that animal that was a family member. Because I was a kid at the time, and I had a dream about my cat that passed on. And I've heard others, in my band in particular, who saw their dog that was Patrick, his first dog, yeah. So when he was a child too. So when just from my personal experience, I was in between sleep and awake. In other words, I knew that it was probably a dream. Not like my grandfather.
If
but that's
only.
an interesting place for the mind to be.
Yeah, in that quasi-wake
Yeah,
state,
yeah.
do you think that there's a thinning of the veil, I think was
Well,
what
they
you're
say
on?
that's the astral realm. And when people go into deep meditation, they're trying to get into that state. It's a certain brain wave.
Sure.
So I have
And whatever
ADHD, so
accompanies
I
that,
can't
yeah.
get there.
I am also ADHD.
All right. High five. We're in the same club.
Nice.
But it was when I met her. She's very adventurous, and she was just like, let's just do it. Let's just go.
Nice.
And so
Do it.
she drugged me out to Manresa Castle, and then just sort of
I mean, that's
grew
not terrible.
from there.
Yeah. That's great.
How long
That is
ago was
great.
that? So how long have you been?
Couple
years now?
years ago
Yeah,
now.
it's fantastic.
We go back every year. We're going back again
This
this
will be our
October.
third visit
Yeah,
in
that's
October.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And did you discover
talk-
anything there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I brought my flute because it was, 2 or 3? You had already used one of your tools.
That
And
was before we had any real equipment.
right, we had the older
We were
equipment.
using apps and stuff.
So we didn't catch anything. So I thought, well, I'm just going to play my flute. So I played an old Irish air element called Loss of the Books.
Oh, yeah.
And I was about 3/4 of the way through, and we heard piano.
Like an accompaniment?
Yes.
Wow.
It was clear.
Okay.
But not loud. It sounded far away.
Like it was a couple floors down. And I thought, well, there's the
There was a piano on the property. We immediately set about defunking it.
we went down to go find the piano because we were sure someone was playing the piano.
Heard you and, yeah.
Maybe we were in the tower room, that turret room, 316. That
That's
is
neat.
the room.
It's 316. Are you kidding
I think
me?
it's
Is it 319 or 316?
313.
Is it 313?
Oh, wow.
Even worse.
It's the
There's a
turret
picture of
room.
it.
Google it.
I have a picture of it on our.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah,
come
I
on.
did see
It's-
that, yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
castle. I'm in. You had
Yeah.
it castle.
So we flew down the stairs. You flew down the left wing of the castle. I flew down the right wing, and we found the piano because there's an organ when you first walk in on the left. That one we're not allowed to touch, right?
Yeah.
And the organ room is on that side of the castle, but the piano was in the bar/restaurant piece,
Which was below our
right
room.
below our room.
So we're like, well, of course, someone was tinkering away. But for 6 seconds, 7 seconds,
Oh, it
Yeah,
was like
it
a
wasn't
real
that long.
brief
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
it was
That's great.
brief.
Yeah, nobody sits down to play
But
for 6 seconds.
we asked, no one had touched the piano.
Was it closed up?
It was closed up.
In
It was
the bar.
locked. I tried the
Yeah.
doors. There was a glass sliding door with
Yeah,
a lock
well,
on
there
it.
you go.
It was
You know,
dark,
that's great.
and
Yeah.
I flew down the stairs. Now, how fast can I run back then? Pretty fast.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, but for some reason I'm stuck on it. Grand piano or like an upright?
No, an
You are
upright.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Not
And I
like
mean,
a
and
big.
when you see this, because I appreciate the skepticism and the scientific method I do, but what about feeling? Feeling counts. Do you feel that something is just right with the universe? Normal?
I never felt scared there.
But do you feel anything? Like
Yeah,
anything that would
absolutely.
indicate that this,
Like a
you know, I mean, that it
presence.
means something to
Yeah.
you experiencing this? at
I have
that
a
time?
place that is, I am inexplicably attracted to it. I don't know if reincarnation is real. If it is, I've been there before. I have dreams from a child before I knew this place existed, kind of weirdness. And that is the Brookdale Lodge down in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's famous because they built the restaurant, they call it the dining room, over the mountain creek. So it literally has a creek that runs through the restaurant. And in the 50s and 60s, it was a hotbed of celebrity activity.
Yeah, place to be.
And I didn't know about the place as a child, had never been to that part of California, but I always had an obsession with creeks that run through buildings, which that's not a thing, you know.
Yeah.
But all my life I always said, oh, if I ever have unlimited money, I'm gonna have a creek that runs through my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And when I'm there, I feel there's like a vibe, not necessarily scary.
You feel at home.
I mean, there's just a vibe, and I think everyone can say they've gone into a place or down a dark alley or somewhere where they just felt creeped out, or like your experience where you actually had a biological response.
Yeah, why
I
couldn't
don't
the
know.
reverse be so? Why couldn't the reverse be so?
Right.
Right?
And so, you know, if we're energy the way we're supposed to be, we know that, but it would make sense that we would biologically be able to pick up on changes in
On
energy.
positive places, yeah.
Well, just like that example you presented, in another example is ever feel like someone's looking at you at a grocery
yeah,
store.
someone's
that
watching.
sense, it's
Yeah.
kind of like in that category where you're like, things that make you go,
Yeah, maybe a broader spectrum of it, but yeah, same kind of thing where it's not typical sensory input, right?
Yeah.
No, it's great.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and good on you for being open to it, because it does take a certain bravery to take that step.
You mentioned a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Ghost Hunters TV show, and you said that they do a lot of debunking. And one of the things that caught me on your website that I really like to read was that Coast Paranormal is a group of folks dedicated to the ethical and honest investigation of the paranormal.
Yeah.
So to me, that means that you guys aren't out there trying to be like dramatic about it and create something that doesn't exist, right? Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not related to Zach Baggins, no.
It gets clicks, and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
honesty and dignity are nice.
clicks are good.
Yeah. But you said like 85% of the time.
Most of the time, so if we want to talk about paranormal investigating, most of the time it's boring.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
You're just urban exploring at that point.
Which is even better, because usually when you're urban exploring, you're in some really cool rundown
Totally.
place.
For some reason, it seems way more dangerous to be an urban explorer than a paranormal
Now
investigator.
combining those two is like gold. But most of the time you're sitting trying to be quiet, which is really hard for someone like me. And you're waiting for things to happen. But the way I look at it, and I think most paranormal investigators do, and I'm not talking about YouTubers, no offense to them, or people who have TV shows, good on them.
Yeah.
But I think most of the people who do this really are like, if we get the Holy Grail, we don't want it to be questioned, because people just know that we're not sensationalizing, we're not making things up, we're not making evidence out of randomness.
Or trying to prove.
You don't have someone on
Right,
the camera throwing things at the wall.
So we'll talk about your tools, because I know you brought a bunch, and I'm excited to see them.
Me too.
In a sort of scientific methodology, what are the kinds of things that you, and I don't want to say proof, but for lack of a better word, proof, do you capture that you can go out and say, look what we found? This is what we found. Is it photos and videos? Is it audio
I think
recordings?
my favorite are EVPs.
Okay, you're going to have to explain to me what that is.
EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. So that's
Totally cool.
Yeah, when you pick up
Come on.
a recording of a voice, and when you've isolated your area and you know there is no other explanation, and you pick up a voice that does not belong to someone else in the room, it is really cool.
Yeah.
And also to your point about in the investigation piece, it's just like triangulation, a satellite where it has one story over here, another story corroborates, and some facts and data like this instrument sees something.
Yeah.
That instrument sees and smells something. This person over here saw this and they were standing over there at that objective point at this point in time. That person over there was downstairs and they heard something at XYZ coordinate. So it's not just one thing, it's several facts and data feeding into an observation.
That's awesome. Do you guys, like, when you go to these places and you do this, do you, like, keep a journal? Like, you're listing the stuff that happened and the time, and, I mean, I don't...
It's like a ship's log,
Is it
really.
really? Yeah.
There's a lot of nothing in there because if you don't observe something, then there's nothing to report.
Yeah.
But still the techniques of that observation, right?
Yeah, and then, you know, if you're videoing, you've got that documentation.
Yeah, because storage is cheaper than ever. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can video.
Pictures, people get pictures, people get video.
But I really do feel sometimes that it's the non-tangibles. And that sounds like a cop-out because you can't prove the non-tangibles.
Those are
100%.
testimonies.
Yeah.
Feelings
Eyewitnesses
matter. Like
that-
during a dream, you learn from the feeling.
Yeah.
Right? It adds so much depth to the imagery. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
And I guess that's why I'm happy to see that you make that statement about the ethical, because then I'm not feeling like you guys are out there
So it's like,
trying to
I know, I'm
find
kinda-
something instead of letting it kind of
Well, we
come
are
to you.
trying to find
But
something.
you're not
We're
like
not
forcing
gonna
it, I guess is what
force
I'm
it,
trying to say.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Not
So
manufactured.
100%.
there's some
attached to
tools-
that outcome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
tools I won't use. I won't use apps because they can be manipulated, and they're also not. They're working on your phone. They're not calibrated to the outside environment the same way that other tools are.
And it's an algorithm usually.
Yeah,
Sure.
but they can be manipulated. And
I
then
would say,
what's
yeah.
really popular when you watch like the YouTubers, the paranormal YouTubers, is this device called the Ovilus. Number one, it's really expensive, and so it's funny that
Is that the one that just randomly says words?
it says words.
Yeah.
And the way it's supposed to work is that spirit energy can manipulate it in order to create the word. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's really easy to make it fit whatever narrative you believe.
Sure.
So, for example, Brookdale Lodge, I'm obsessed with the place. It is famous for the ghost of a child named Sarah Logan. And
Oh, wow.
the problem is, no one's ever been able to prove that Sarah Logan existed
Sure.
or died on the property.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter to me, and I'm just going to be funny over here.
Well, to
But
yours-
it's the belief that matters.
Well, what
It's the
Tira's
belief that
point
matters,
and your
yes.
point is there's bias, right? Where
the
I wanted to
Yeah.
address the bias or the elephant in the room when it comes to any investigation, no matter what it is to Tira's point, we have to be objective in selecting the tools, and just like any investigation, you're getting testimonies and accounts, and like Tira was mentioning, facts and data from the archives. Those don't align that we didn't find this girl there, or Tira didn't find this girl there.
Well, no one who's looked can find her. But if I walk into a place with a preconceived notion, there's a ghost of a 7-year-old
Yep,
girl
yep,
here,
yep.
and I get certain pieces of information, like the device that makes words, I can make that fit
yeah.
my
Yeah.
preconceived notion.
Yeah.
So while I like to know about a building or a place, I don't like tools that can feed even like unconscious or
Yes.
subconscious
Yeah,
bias.
The prompts.
Yeah.
right?
It's almost best like to send me in there with knowing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but the best barometer for an experience is actually just yourself. And the thing is I think pretty much everyone is a skeptic until they experience something.
Sure.
And then you can't make someone else believe.
No.
They have
Yeah.
to experience that.
Yeah.
And I think you can be a hardcore non-believer and nothing paranormal will ever happen to you because you're
Closed off to it.
predisposed to not
Probably
seeing it.
I think you would just put it under some other label, right? You know what I mean? And
You-
just
you
kinda
can rationalize
not give it
any-
value when it
Yeah.
does have value, and has had value for humans much longer than it has not had value.
Right.
Denial.
It's like, oh yeah, and this was how we explained human existence and what the cosmos meant and what came after life and what it all meant. You know what I mean? And I think, existence is far more complicated than we know now. So other possibilities we have to remain open to, right? We have
Well,
to be open to the data. Yeah.
I think so. But I'm also not here to make anybody believe what I believe. I'm never gonna say that you guys didn't experience what you experienced because I maybe don't think that way. Or, I'm never gonna put my opinion on someone else.
Because that's just ego talking, right? That's
Yeah.
not a larger consciousness or a larger being, right?
Right. Just from my
it's self-limiting,
personal
right? Yeah.
journey,
Yeah.
it almost has to smack me in the face before I'm gonna full on say ghosts are real. Like I'm not gonna say that, even though I've had some very interesting experiences. And it doesn't stop me from looking because it's fun, especially if you're with cool people.
So,
The boring times get filled with occasionally wine.
And stuff. Yeah. Is there
Not
a
when
place,
we're on the clock, though.
Is there a place or a building, some kind of structure, anything that you guys would never go back to because you had a negative paranormal experience in?
Not yet. Not
yet.
personally.
Nice. Not
Yeah,
yet.
not yet.
Well, I know my grandfather's not there anymore because he left after that conversation I had with him. My dad didn't see him after that.
Oh, okay.
So I think he did move on. But had I been in that house 2 weeks and he was still there, I probably would not want to go back.
Yeah.
Because that was not pleasant.
Yeah. And you don't want to. How old were you when he passed?
I was 23,
Okay.
and then
So then Grandma passed shortly
a year
after.
later,
Oh, a year
almost
later.
almost to the day.
Okay.
Like 30 days, I think, difference, 28 days, something like that.
Okay. So you had a long 22 years with him, or, yeah.
Well, he was different when I saw him.
Oh, from what he was
He was
when
very
he was alive.
angry. He still had this, he had always put his hand up, under his lapel. He was very authoritative in how he stood, and there was a painting of him in this very pose, like an old sea captain. And he, as he aged, was less authoritative in his body language, and so I thought, well, this is just an apparition. I'm just freaked out right now. But after talking to my dad, I learned about a side of my grandfather that wasn't nice. And when I shared with him this story later on in the years as they unfolded, my dad was able to open up to me on how unpleasant grandfather was, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know you mentioned McClendon's, which is just surprising to me that we're talking about like the Holy Grail is McClendon's right now. But is there really another Holy Grail, like a famous place?
For me, it's Brookdale Lodge.
Okay.
Sure.
I've been there several times. We've done like mini investigations in our room, but the dining room is closed. It's in really bad shape.
Oh, okay.
They call it the Brook Room. But I'll tell you, we were talking about vibes. You were bringing up vibes, and I didn't think of this then, and I don't know why. The pool at Brookdale Lodge is unnerving. And when I was right there standing next to it, I was like, I want out of here.
Is it like a big public pool?
If you go to my TikTok, actually, I had a video. It's like a kidney-shaped pool, and they installed viewing windows in it. And in the early '60s, they would have mermaid shows, which were just pretty women that swam. There's a bar down below where
So
you
it's
can
classy,
watch,
isn't it?
right?
Yeah. I
People
want that
swimming,
gig.
and it was something else.
I remember going there in college.
Yeah, she got to
that's
eat
cool.
there.
Right on.
I never did. They shut down in the early 2000s.
Okay.
What's the TikTok?
Coast.paranormal.
Nice.
And I have a lot of videos about Brookdale because I might be obsessed with the place.
And where is that exactly, did you say?
It's just outside of Santa Cruz,
Okay.
in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And it's open. You can stay there. The bar is open. They have live bands. They do like a Halloween ball every year. But the actual Brook Room, where the creek runs through, and the older buildings, they're just legally for liability
too
reasons.
dilapidated,
Yeah,
yeah.
they can't let
Yeah.
people really get in there. They're trying to restore it, and I think I'm trying to
It's like
single-handedly.
salmon trying to come upstream.
They do. One of the presidents, it might have been Truman, is like said to have fished off the
That's
little
pretty cool.
bridge that
I like
was
to
in
think it was
there.
Teddy Roosevelt because he was a dude.
I think it was after
Yeah.
Teddy's time,
Yeah.
but so no, it's just a really cool place.
And it caused you, which is neat.
It does, and I want to get in there. I'm writing a book, and it's based on. It's a novel. It's not like, but I used the Brookdale Lodge as my setting, and it's about paranormal investigators. But it's just it's enchanting. If you go to YouTube and look up some old dining room footage, and you'll see it's just a cool place.
Nice. Before we sort of jump into the tools, which I'm, again, really excited about,
The toys.
is there advice that you guys would give to somebody that's sort of interested but don't know how to sort of get into what you guys do? Is there...
Find someone cool
Yeah.
who doesn't make you feel stupid
yeah.
asking the dark questions.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, you don't need much.
Yeah.
We started with a phone, and now, we're slowly building a whole collection of tools and toys, fun things. And again, a lot of it is really about the personal experience, being willing to put yourself in the situation.
I think the investigation piece, you don't really need any tools. You just need to be very objective. You need to be aware of what sort of bias pits, Tira has mentioned what those are. You need to be aware of what could that possibly be, or your debunk brain.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have to be open to things. And you have to be very good at documenting what you see, hear, smell, what time is it, who else was there, and thinking through what occurred, the who, what, when, where, and why, and how much, I guess.
One of us is a trained scientist. Can you guess who it is? I know. It's a tough call. You're wrong.
What
what's
science
your
field?
specialty?
What specialty are you?
Well, that scientific method is basically, as you mentioned, scientific method, right?
Yeah.
So-
What's your field?
Well, there's several. In college, I studied biochemistry, chemistry, and biology.
Wow.
And I was on several research projects, some of them microbial in nature, to try to find a new red wool inhibitor. And we presented in classes. I also worked at a couple internships for water resources in college, and then I jumped into the scientific field as an analyst, and I developed or co-developed scientific methods and validation methodologies for testing drug products.
Wow.
And I was in pharma and biopharma and medical device for 15 or so years.
Geez,
and
so
then
you're
moved
saying
into
you're
medical
like
devices.
a Da Vinci, right? Like
No,
a modern day,
I
'cause
did
the
develop
music and the science
co-develop
and the-
a medical device.
Well,
That's cool.
can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, but Bayer stole it, so.
Oh,
you're
man.
like-
You mean Bayer?
Trademark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm done with inventing.
She
But
comes from
Yeah, but good
a
on you.
very scientific family.
Sure.
In general.
And someone who's not afraid to buckle down and complete tasks, right? So that's a good trait.
well, my grandfather, he was very nice to me. Of course, maybe as he got older, he learned, he grew. Right, but my dad said he was abusive as a child. But I remember my memories of sitting on his lap, and he would take his slides out and show me how to work a telescope at age 3.5, 4.5. And instead of story time, he would tell me about his patients and what sort of therapies he was working on. I mean, so I guess it started there.
Yeah, and I think grandkids can be a second chance to get it right. You know what I mean? It's and remember, men, I'm not defending men, because our behavior can be abhorrent, but the only accepted emotion from men is anger, right? Especially back in the 10s and 20s
In our
and 30s.
culture,
It's
or the
you know what I
dominant
mean?
culture.
Yeah. So, not to excuse
Well,
shitty
anger in the
behaviors,
stage
'cause
of
we can also
loss
be-
is the most functional, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
But anger is a very powerful
Yeah.
emotion.
And it's sudden.
And would be a good
Yes.
reason for someone to linger.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because it is the first.
Yeah.
I just reminded
Good
myself
point.
that I could be angry. The other day I twisted my ankle and fell down some stone steps. And I had no one to blame but me. And I got super duper mad like I haven't been in 25 years. It was incredible. I could have crushed stone.
I
But it
have a
passed, which is
teenager.
nice. But I've forgotten that I could be
always
angry.
mad.
So something.
I need a little bit of your zen.
He, she, they,
Bottle
them's gonna
that.
watch it.
I,
What did you say?
I'm frequently like, God, I can't wait. Well, actually, I can. Something will happen. I'm like, God damn it! What the? It doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it passes much more quickly, than it once did.
Yeah.
But
that
it's
is
the
true.
first sometimes, right? Sometimes I think fear, obviously, but a close cousin to fear is anger, right, and lashing out. So, and those are the immediate reactions before we can find, until we're always in, right, or until we're always whatever that is, But those are the first
Flight,
two,
fight, or
right?
freeze. When
Right.
you see something
Yeah.
you can't explain.
Until we're no longer bound to mortality, right? Once we can let go of the mortality, that fear is gone, and then it's just accepting this other reality, right? So,
That's a whole nother podcast.
nother
Those
podcast.
with near-death
Yeah.
experiences.
The spiritual stuff
Yeah,
is.
but it's non-typical reality, right? So they're not the same things, and I don't think they all exist in the same planes anyway. But it all is different from our typical accepted realities, right? But
I think it's as individual as we are.
right on. You think our existence is, or what do you
Yes,
think?
that and passing through the veil. I think it's different for everybody.
Interesting. How would
I
that
think-
benefit either the self or the larger?
I think when our spirit's separating the body, we go through that veil, as you speak, you separate from your body, and I think it's like being in between asleep and awake, where your individual response is going to be different from your individual's response. It's going to be different from yours.
Because that's what's needed to walk us to the next phase, maybe? Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? Because it would have to be. Yeah, because we only...
Yeah, I mean, it
we
can't
are
be the same
subjective
for
in our
everybody.
existences
Yeah.
to some degree, right? Even though I think it really is a shared reality.
Well,
in
your
many,
spirit's
many
different
aspects.
than yours, and we're all
And
different
I don't-
individuals. We each have
or
our...
aspects of a larger individual, right? Or whatever. I don't know. I like the aspects idea, but then that's also uncomfortable because I'm me, man, right? I want to think that there's a me in the end, right? I do until I don't, right?
Well,
So-
there is. I mean, scientists can't define what personality is or where it comes from. So there is something inherently unique about every single person.
We
Even
all
if
know
we
it.
all
We know
came
that to
from
be
the
true.
same source, it wouldn't matter. We're still unique, and then we're shaped by our experiences. So, and the choices we've made and whatnot. So.
And our responses to things you can't explain is
Yeah.
also going to be different, slightly
Right.
from you, me.
Because each experience is unique, right? Because it's trillions of cells in many, 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 many billions of moments,
Right.
So it's like, each one does have its own crazy path, right?
Yeah.
It's neat. It's the best gig in town.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Todd.
I was gonna say, so what kind of gear do you
Yeah.
guys
Oh,
have?
yeah.
Real quick
And does
before we
anybody
jump-
need a break of any kind?
Yeah, you guys cool
You
to
need
keep
water
going?
break or a stretch break or a...
Oh no, I can
You're all good?
I can go all night.
Well, our meat pie place over here
Oh,
is
yeah.
about
Yeah,
to shut down.
yeah.
We're
no,
a
no,
little
it's great.
obsessed with the meat
Oh,
pies.
That's where we had
Just over we started.
The Ambridge
That's-
family are super cool. They're
Yeah.
really motivated, good written
Yeah.
citizens and human beings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the food's great.
It's
Our
great.
first or second week here, Nathan,
Yeah.
the
First
husband,
time here,
came
yeah.
running over with pies and pitchers of beer for
Yes.
us. The food like that. I think the second week we
Yeah,
were.
so
No, it was the
good.
first week.
Was it the first week?
Yeah, no, it's
Just
great.
so friendly.
No, in the
Yeah.
Bainbridge,
Now I'm
I'm
just
a fan.
jealous.
They're cool. Well,
When you
So
get to-
I stand
I
the
did go to
mac
Glen
and
Mount
cheese
Elementary.
meat
Yeah.
pie
Yeah.
with bacon on top.
Nice.
Nice.
And today's the 2 buy one, you
like
get
buy
one
one,
for
50%
50%
off or
off for the.
something, yeah.
But they
Every
have the
Scottish
late night deals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's trademark.
that's trademarked. We can't talk about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's Spotify. They'll respect our wishes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Positive.
Yeah, but YouTube will be like, oh, we're going
Yeah,
down.
oh, as
Yeah.
you wish.
There is no secret. Never mind. Visit only before 7 p.m.
Yeah,
Just
yes.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
break
could-
or no break?
I think she might need a
You wanna
break.
take a
let's
quick?
do it.
I'll run across if you
She
want
wants
to carry
a
on.
meat, She wants a meat pie.
Yeah,
Do
you want a
wanna-
mac and
Do you
cheese?
want to keep going and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if she breaks out the gear?
No, hey, will you hand
And I'm
it
going
to
to run
me?
to the restroom.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
I'm old.
And then I do want to give you both an opportunity to tell us anything that we haven't asked you about. If there's anything more that you want to let us know that you think we should know.
How much time do you have?
We got time. I know we want to do a little bit of investigations. I don't know what all that entails. I know there's a bit of a waiting game or whatever. Nope, we're good.
Okay. So I'll warn you right now, this equipment is very, very sophisticated.
Okay.
For example,
She brought her Switch.
we use a radio.
Nice.
Radio.
Yep. And
Normal, like AM, FM.
yep, I'll show you. In fact, I'm hoping that I can have you guys test it out. Don't look in my bag, because remember I said I was ADHD. It's not
I
organized.
won't tell because I won't remember.
It's not organized at all.
I won't remember in 5 minutes what I saw. It's something.
Same. Okay, this is one of the most sophisticated tools.
What is that?
That's the movement ball, right?
It's a cat toy.
Ooh.
I have one that's open, but this has become really popular as of late because it does require movement and it lights up when
So-
you touch it.
Just when you touch it. So if you
Yep.
were to place that in a empty space,
It would stop blinking after a second.
It will
or two.
stop blinking in a second, and then
Once we're not touching the table.
oh no! When you turn it on, it cycles. So there you go. So the thing about these is that they're motion activated, but like you saw, setting your hand down, it takes a little bit more than just general
it's not just a
movement.
willy-nilly little...
Okay, now I hit it a little
Yeah.
harder than, yeah.
Because the table actually made it roll. So it can be great in using as like a trigger object.
Has it worked for you?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
We had Cat Ball light up for us on command when we were on the Queen Mary.
On command, you mean you asked
We
for somebody
asked
to move
for
it?
it,
Or
yeah.
something to move it?
Yes.
Wow.
And I don't have a stand for mine, but the ones they use on the Queen Mary, they actually have on plastic stands so they can't accidentally roll.
Oh, so less vibration can
Yeah,
do
so
okay.
when you're using something like this, you have to rule out environmental factors.
Right,
Is the
yeah.
floor vibrating? Is there a breeze? Is there, so once you've ruled out all those possibilities, if it lights up, then you can feel pretty confident that something might be responding to you.
Yeah,
I'm always going to
tapping
put
it right
that
now, and it's not
disclaimer.
doing anything, so it's got to be some significant movement.
Yeah,
I mean, shook the table and it didn't light up.
either that or I just
Maybe it just shut off.
Amazon sold me the most hard to turn on cat balls. So those are fun and they're really, really cheap.
Is this something that you would focus a video camera or some kind of camera on to watch it so you can document?
You could. I'm shopping for a camera, and I'm one of those weirdos that has to read like 852,000
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to invest, I
Yeah,
want to do a
it's my
lot.
money.
Exactly. Plus, it has to
I'm
be.
the guy who's like, I'm going to get this, and if it doesn't work, I'll just sell it.
Look, lights! Shiny!
I mean, I like that too, but I want, I want to buy one and then be able to use it
Yeah,
right
yeah.
away because I'm
Yeah,
ADD.
don't show Mike that because he'll take it home to his cats.
Oh,
It's a
They're-
cat toy that lights up.
I hide them from my cats.
nice. Cats are the best.
They're not. This isn't a cat toy. This is a professional
Scientific instrument.
scientific
Sure.
instrument device. Okay.
Behavioral enhancer.
These, this measures electromagnetic field.
EMF, nice.
EMF, and it's gonna spaz out a bit. There's a lot of EMF right here because of the
We got a
equipment.
lot going on here. Neat.
So when there's a lot of energy, if you will, electromagnetic field around. These will light up like this is doing because
And
of
is
all
that
that.
green to less, red is more, or green
Red
is a
is a
certain
lot.
spectrum, red is a different spectrum?
Yeah.
Or it's
So
all-
when
oh.
he was talking about the Moore Theater, they discovered exposed wires. So EMF is known to make people feel creeped out and make you
Oh, sure.
dizzy.
Oh, yeah. No,
and-
it's like being in a molded
Right.
place or something, right? Your body
Yeah.
tells you it's not a healthy place to be.
Right. So they use these to, like, if you go put it up like against an outlet, you can find if it's leaking energy. So they're really great. Like, I wouldn't try to use it right now because the equipment is really setting it off, and it's real excited. But if we went like into the back room where we didn't have all the equipment going, it should just have one green light.
And how about in nature? If you're out,
So the first thing I do when I get somewhere and I whip out this bad boy, I will sweep the area so we can get a baseline. We can find out, okay, these fans are letting off energy. I keep my cell phone away because one time I was trying to upload a video and it wasn't even that close, but it was close enough that it was triggering this. So once we find a spot where there's no reactivity, we'll put it there, and then we can ask, can you touch our light? Can you make it light up to red? What have you? And then if it lights up, especially if it lights up when you have requested it to,
Right.
then that
Yeah.
would be considered like an intelligent response.
yes, it would.
Yeah. And that's happened. It's fun.
It's cool.
A few episodes back, probably like 6 months ago, I was telling them how I backed a product that Hasbro is doing for Ghostbusters. And one of the things you're going to get in this package was like, after shipping and taxes and all that, it was about $400. But you're getting a ghost trap
Ooh.
and a PKE meter. And the
Okay.
PKE meter actually has that built into it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's really what I wanted. I
It's a
wanted,
fun toy.
I
This
wanted
was-
to have an EMF detector
This
in
is
my PKE meter.
$12 on
No, wow,
Amazon.
man.
As well.
Okay.
That's a lot cheaper than what I spend on mine.
Yeah,
I'm not getting-
but I don't have a trap. But quite frankly, I ain't bringing them home with me.
Yes.
Sorry,
Leave them
unless
where
they're
they are.
paying rent,
It's like
Unless they're going to do the dishes
it
for
was
me.
based specifically.
I'm not gonna
clean the cat box.
Clean the cat.
I'm not going to see those.
Man.
I'm not going to see those
Like,
things
no.
until probably November.
That's cool though that you did that.
Yeah.
And then digital voice recorder.
Okay.
So I have two because if I don't catch anything, then I'm convinced they don't work.
Plus, it sets the mood and recording, like recording yourself live, right? As you're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, you
Yeah, no,
record.
it's
Yeah, it gives
very
you
important. It's
the-
so important.
Yes.
And then you can do like an instant playback, but I've found the best EVP I ever caught. We could just barely hear it with our ears. And so, but when we uploaded the file into the computer and you can kind of see
The waveform.
the waveform and you could, it was really,
Can
and
you
then we
tell
could
us?
isolate it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Can you tell us what it said?
Yeah.
Amplify it.
The word was no.
Just no.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
But we asked a yes or no question. So
What did you ask?
Okay, I hope I don't get in trouble for sharing this story.
Well,
Not
no
too,
names
but-
are given,
So,
right? Yeah, no, give me
this-
it's anonymous.
This is, well, it relates to the same story with the psychic. It's the same person.
Oh, well, we didn't know that until you just
I
said
know.
that.
It's all right. It's okay.
That Mason would be mad at you.
No. ADHD. Did you get your pie?
Oh, good.
I got a mac and cheese.
Nice.
Nice.
Always a good choice.
And my Scottish bread.
Nice.
Scottish. If it isn't Scottish, it's
Have you been to
cat.
Scotland? Have you been?
No, just Ireland.
Oh, yeah, well, that's perfect.
She's Irish.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
Everyone's got a bit of Irish in them, that's for sure.
Sorry, I took your spot. So, this person who passed away, so my aunt is only 6 years older than me. So she's much more like my sister. She was friends with this person when they were young and then went their separate ways. And then, like a lot of us have done, reconnected, I believe, via Facebook. but they may have stayed in touch. She's going to be mad at me for not remembering the whole story. But anyway, he took his own life, and he went to great lengths to not have people looking for him. So he said he was moving away and saying goodbye to everybody, and then he just disappeared, and nobody knew where he was. And that was when she reached out to this medium who she's used several times, and she got that how he had done it, and the general vicinity, what his surroundings looked like, and that happened long before he was found.
Oh, man.
It took them, I think, a year and a half to find his remains.
Oh, wow. So he was a secluded area. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So after he had passed, and I can't remember exactly if we already knew. I don't actually know. Pardon me. We did know. It was 2 days before we found out. Before we found out he'd been discovered. And we went to the back of the house in the master bathroom because it was the quietest place. And this is their house down in California where she lives. And we pulled up her iPhone and we just did the voice recorder on her iPhone, and we were asking questions. And at that, she was going through kind of a difficult time, and she was trying to date, and it wasn't working out. And so we asked, hey, are you preventing her from meeting someone? Are you preventing her from finding love? And I'm not kidding you, clear as almost day, because it was a whisper. We get, no. That was it. But it was we were really excited. This is the thing about paranormal investigators. You get excited over really small things.
That's a big thing. And
I couldn't debunk it.
No. And again, did at that moment, right?
2 days later, he was discovered.
Did you feel something particular?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been able to say, oh, his spirit's in the room with us. No.
No, but
I
there's
can
something
say
at
that
that,
I do feel like he does spend time around her. And she's been told by multiple mediums that he hangs out around her. So she would definitely be someone I would consider sensitive. I'm not.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about it either.
Somebody just kind of, watching me.
Well, because it's difficult to know their purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, I mean,
I think it's
he
protective.
I'd like to think so.
I think
right?
it's protective, just based on.
Because maybe they have
I know
a
the
longer
whole
sight than we
story,
have. Yeah.
and so based on the whole story, I definitely think it would be protective. And I don't feel weird about, if there are spirits and they're around and they're watching us. I don't think they care. I don't think they care about what we're doing or what we look like or whatever. 'Cause some people get weirded out by that. They see me naked. It's like, they don't care.
They transcended this form, right? It's like,
well, we're ruled by biology. We're ruled by chemicals and hormones, and they wouldn't be. So
I'll say.
Anyway, so catching an EVP is fun, and that was the best one. I've had others, but I automatically am like, no, I can debunk it, right? My brain forces me to explain it away. So this is called a spirit box.
I want one.
Has a cool name, but really it is just an AM/FM radio that allows you to sweep through the stations really quickly.
Oh, okay.
And you can sweep backwards.
Does it stop when it
At
detects?
a specific frequency or something?
No. So it works on the white noise theory.
Yeah, what are you
So
looking
going back
for
to
as it does that?
poltergeist,
Yeah,
remember?
which scared me terribly.
Me too. And yet I've seen it about 100,000 times. So it works on that white noise theory that it's the frequency and the energy, and that energy can then be manipulated to make words. And I've heard words, And we got intelligent responses through the spirit box on the Queen Mary. And, it was-
And then
it was
know that
cool.
you heard what frequency was that at? Like what
It's
picked up that word?
the radio waves.
Is it okay? So it's in the AM spectrum or whatever.
You can do AM or FM. So because I want to know that what I hear is what I hear, I do it on the AM and I do it backwards. So you are going to hear millisecond blips of sound and music. When you scan forward, you can pick up on a word. But this is scanning through the stations very quickly. So if you get a word or a phrase that lasts more than one scan, you're not accidentally picking up something on a station.
It changes that probability radically, doesn't it?
Yes.
So,
But that is an easy thing people will say against these. Well, you're picking up the radio station. Yeah, sometimes you are. Sometimes you are.
But a pattern's a pattern, and a pattern is a disruption in probability.
Right.
That's
So I'm
what
going to turn it on.
TM.
It's so much fun. Do you have a question? No, you'll hear it. Trust me. This thing is not quiet.
I kind of want one.
They are fun. Then the way that it's done now, and this is really cool. So it's going. It's on one station right now. Yeah, I'll do it. It's not sweeping right now. It's because it's on AM, so it's just picking up noise. But have you guys heard of Estes, Colorado? That would be the town where the Stanley Hotel is located,
where
which The Shining was based on. The Stanley Hotel. Somebody, and I apologize, I don't know your name because I'm sure you're going to watch this.
Yes. Watch.
Somebody decided to put on headphones and a blindfold and connect their headphones to their spirit box.
That would be a trip, period.
It is. And have a person asking questions, and then the listener, the one connected to the box, they can't hear or see can't lip read, in other words. So when you pick up a response that falls in line with the question or what's being talked about, that is trippy.
So they were repeating what they were hearing.
You repeat everything you hear, and I'll let you try it if you want. It's not easy.
Is it?
So the key is you cannot overthink. If you can't tell something's a word, don't sit around trying to make it a
Yes.
word.
Yeah, that falls into that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, for example, what happened on the Queen Mary, and we were wearing drummers' headphones, and I don't know if anybody knows anything about drummers' headphones, but you can't hear anything. And we were blindfolded. So we can't see, we can't hear, all we can hear is this. And I distinctly remember getting a ha, ha. And they were talking about jokes. They were telling jokes. And then my aunt, we were doing it at the same time, each of us with our own frequency. So we weren't sharing the same scanning. She got laughter, the word laughter, repeatedly, like at least 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. And then in the beginning, someone asked, is there anyone here with us? And she got the name Natalie.
Oh, wow.
I mean, immediately. And you don't believe it until you've done it. You cannot hear anything.
Man, I just watched a movie, sort of B-level horror movie on the Queen Mary. Do you have to get special permission, or were you able to sort of just go in and sort of set up clandestine?
You have to. The Queen Mary is really cool, and there are places that have really interesting vibes. For me, it's always the pool.
Yeah.
Something with me in pools.
I remember that in the movie, and I don't know if they were trying to, maybe play off of.
There's
real
lore
stuff.
around the pool.
Yeah, okay.
There's definitely haunted lore around the Queen Mary pool for sure, but it feels weird when you're in there, and it doesn't seem right because you're like you're not, I don't believe you're below the water level, but you're in a room. You're fully enclosed.
It's
in
not like
this-
on deck or some kind of thing.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
It's a strange
is it-
place for a pool.
Is
It
it a
is-
functioning ship?
Yeah, oh yeah, we stayed there.
Oh, all right.
People were
So it's
having
not
a
like
wedding.
museum or something
Yeah, my
where-
dad and I went there in 1992, I
Is it
think,
the,
and we
the
stayed the
sister ship
night.
to the Titanic?
And we
Same
saw,
company, I
All
think.
right.
yeah, we saw mist midship, and we'd walk through the mist, and it would disappear. We'd get to the other side and look back, we'd see mist again.
Wow.
I saw no mist. It was a quiet. So they host investigations.
Totally cool.
But they're real investigations. And then they videotape, they journal everything, they document everything, they have all the devices. So you can pay to participate.
Seriously.
But I will say it is a real investigation. So if you do that through the Great Ghost Project, it's going to be the same things we would do anywhere.
Yeah.
How about a non-English going out with somebody who would ask questions in non-English?
I mean,
Like,
people
like
do that.
Native languages for the area, or
Yeah, I only know English.
no, I'm not. It's not a
So,
criticism. I'm just asking.
For me,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, people do that.
Sure.
They'll go in, especially a lot of the missions down in California. You'll see a lot of groups that'll go in and speak Spanish.
Sure.
But anyway, so this, just to
Oh, yeah.
show you guys how it actually works. So you can adjust the sweep rate, which is how quickly it cycles through the stations. I'm going to sweep reverse, and we are AM. So now, if we were to hear an actual word, that would be unlikely because it's going backwards. Well, it's just sweeping backwards, I guess. So you might hear words. So that last one sounded like a voice to me.
It's like the ghost of Rush Limbaugh on AM or something.
It's a totally cool effect.
So you can hear that you can hear stuff.
Oh, wow.
But it's at 100 milliseconds.
Yeah.
That's how quickly it's sweeping. So to pick up a clear, audible, like a word where you know, like, oh, that was yes, for example. Or if you were able to pick up 2 or 3 words, that's not coming from the stations.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
The ball.
cat ball.
The cat ball has a I don't want to say a real usage, but a second usage. The EMF meter can, as you mentioned, you can hold it up to electrical outlets, look for energy
Yeah.
leakage. Does that would that be used for anything else, or is that sort
Nope.
of specific
This is
to
its
this?
job.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a radio, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
They do make bigger EMF detectors. The brand name's called REM Pod, which is really popular on the shows, and I've got one coming. It's not here today, unfortunately,
Because
but
they're radio wave receivers. That's what it's doing. Is it's designed to receive these specific. We're surrounded by uncountable waves
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
From a gazillion different sources, right? But yeah, so it's interesting that it's attuned to certain, frequency, and
yeah.
it's totally cool.
It is really cool.
And, yeah.
I'm obsessed with the
Yeah.
toys. I've got a thermal imaging camera that's coming.
And pattern, looking for pattern.
And the thermal energy just will pick. It's not heat.
It does hot and cold.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yep, and it's a camera, so you can see the temperature variations in a room. And
Does heat tell you something different than cold?
well,
when you're
for
looking at
example,
it?
people have claimed to see apparitions through the temperature fluctuation.
Interesting.
So it can.
Shadows.
Yeah.
Kind of, but it picks them up on camera and it sort of shows it to you. So that's cool. And then the REM pod is like the EMF detector, but it also detects changes in temperature. And it has it works with, like, if you imagine like a little dome field around it. And then when something gets close to it, it'll alarm and it will light up. So
I've
those are
seen that
great.
on all those shows.
Yeah, they're in all the shows, and they're considered really reliable devices. They're not easy to trigger accidentally. But again, they're reading EMF. So when you have anything that's picking up on electromagnetic frequencies, you have to be conscious of the energy that's
So
around.
is that your most expensive toy as far as this goes?
I can't talk about that.
I mean,
I don't want to get into trouble.
I'm not asking
No,
for
it's
numbers.
not. It's not.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, it isn't. It's not.
Yeah.
This is my most expensive toy so far. To be honest, they get really pricey because they're not mass manufactured.
Okay.
So when you get thing like I mentioned the Ovilus earlier, I think that's $400 or $500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. These tools are not pricey. The Spirit Box is under $100, and you don't need the expensive stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like the one that makes words. For, like I was saying earlier, I don't want to be able to trick myself into. Same thing with the Spirit Box. Like if I can't determine it's a word, I let it go and I move on. I'm not going to force it to be a word.
Right.
And we talk about the cost of equipment for three guys that do podcasting that are constantly upgrading microphones and cameras and.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and as musicians,
As a
too.
musician, I understand entirely.
I started podcasting with a laptop and
Yeah.
a desk mic.
This is why I don't have a YouTube channel.
Is there a goal? And I don't want to put you on any kind of spot or anything. I mean, you're doing this now because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, it's a
and
hobby.
It's interesting. It's a hobby for
I got a
you.
full-time job.
Is there?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Is,
I
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Me
Is there
too.
is there any kind of goal that you'd like to go to? Like, do you want to do like YouTube videos? Do you want to do
I mean,
anything
I'm
different?
not opposed.
Yeah, but it's not in the.
The reality is, I'm not gonna sell out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sensationalize for the sake of making money on
What you're
YouTube.
saying is you don't want me to go back there and throw this in here.
Clever. Well, it takes a lot of time
Yeah.
to
There's that
produce.
too.
Yeah, it does.
Editing, and I
won't
can't
believe-
keep up with a 17-second TikTok video.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So TikTok is where I'm at.
I feel
I
your
can go
pain.
live now.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of
You
that.
got your 1,000 followers now?
No, but when you have a video go viral, they'll let you go live even when you're close.
Yeah.
That's what
Nice.
you get for being important.
In the interest of time, because
Last
we're
one.
sort of running out of it
I know,
a little
I'm
bit. No, you're fine.
I set this up there.
We would love to have you, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. We'd love to have you maybe show us some of these tools in action if you're willing. But before we even do that, I want to give you guys an opportunity to. We've asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you feel like we should know about what you do?
I say the band.
Oh,
We
well,
would love to talk
Yeah.
about her wonderful band.
well, we had 2 venues that we played at that we've had experiences that we cannot explain.
Can you name the venues?
I will name one of them, the Mirkwood.
No, it
And
was
we're-
great.
Yeah.
We're investigating there next month.
Nice.
Yeah. And specifically, we were setting up to play one night, and the drums and the guitars, they have to set up the amps first, So it was myself and my friend Kristen. We were out front holding down the band table, waiting to set up our gear. And the waitress comes by with our drinks, and she sets them on our table. And one proceeds to slide 4 to 5 inches. Now I want to say 4.5 inches. And she looks at it, and we're all staring at it, and she says, I hate it when they do that.
So the three of you are watching.
We were all watching this happen, but the table's level, only one drink did it. And Kristen's like, oh, maybe the moisture, it lit upon the moisture. I'm like, well, they're all just as equally as, not sweaty, I guess, a glass of sweat.
kind of,
Yeah.
And there's a room in the back called the green room where we put our gear to warm up in. And Patrick's a skeptic, right? He's never seen anything, and he says that room really creeps me out. But at the other venue, of which I don't know if I'll mention, he did see somebody looking for something, and he stopped because he saw it out of the corner of his eye because the room's narrow, and he backed up immediately. He and Rick were walking by. Now Rick's seen stuff too, and he said he was gone. The individual was looking for something mid-room. There was no place for the individual to go. In the short amount of 2.5 seconds he passed it, just like me passing my grandmother. That's how it happens. You see something out of the corner of your eye, at least in Patrick's instance, isn't mine. That's not quite right. You go back, either it's gone or you don't see something, or maybe someone else is interacting with it. So, yeah, we've had 2 instances.
Wow.
How long have you been a band?
Well, I've been with the band almost 7 years now.
She's right on.
And Patrick and Ricky have been together for 35 years. They've played on and off. They were in a band called Green Ice right out of high school and college.
They're only 29, though.
Yeah, right? They opened up for the Psychedelic Furs.
Nice.
Our band's been played on Scotland radio. We've done a few podcasts. We just released our second album.
What would I hate to have you define or label it, but what kind of music is it?
Well, we're an original band. We do some covers. We're a folk rock band, but we do storytelling. We have a lot of Irish links. We talk about war, peace, spirits. We talk about space, time. We have songs about love. We have songs about war. We have songs about peace.
That's life,
we have songs about ghosts. We have one called "Are We the Ghosts?"
Nice.
We should make that our theme song.
And where are these albums available?
On 27 different platforms.
Okay.
I think our first are like iPod.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite place for like Bandcamp or somebody that?
Oh, we're on
treats you
Bandcamp
guys
too.
good? Okay, I'm on.
Yeah. Emma, again, what's the name of the band?
We're called Dublin Abbey.
Dublin Abbey.
We have I guess the best place to go is our website and our Facebook. We've put free stuff on Facebook all the time. We need to stop doing that.
Is that
DublinAbbey.com?
Yeah.
Yep, DublinAbbey.com.
Okay. Well, we'll
and you'll
definitely-
see our sound links on there.
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So what is
congratulations.
this? Because I'm seeing,
This is my favorite tool.
This is
all the tech nerds' favorite.
Yeah,
I'm
is that like a
seeing-
super gimbal or something? What's going on?
That's an Xbox Connect.
That's a Connect.
Yes.
That is correct,
This
sir.
is called an SLS camera.
I have one of those in my house.
Yeah.
Well,
Not the Connect anyway. I have the Connect.
So it
Because,
uses the Connect sensors to do body mapping, and
Let's do it.
it uses the surface. It filters through the surface as its screen.
Oh, man.
And what it will show you, Emma, do you want to?
I would love to demonstrate.
Emma will demonstrate. The camera won't really be able to see it, but maybe later. Because it does image mapping. And like with anything, you have to rule out things that aren't
Does this
necessarily.
thing record as well?
It doesn't, but see how it's making her a stick figure.
Yeah.
And this is a really popular
That's a good-
paranormal
yes.
tool.
Yeah, Todd, take a
That's a
picture of that
great-
so I can pop that up on the
I've got
video.
Emma's stick figure dancing to Sabrina Carpenter on our
Nice.
on
I like
our.
her interpretive dance right now.
Yeah, she's good
Very
at that. You could tell she's a professional.
That's good.
So the theory here is that if it maps a person that isn't there,
Right.
then that's probably
Yeah.
a spirit energy. I haven't had this very long, and I refuse
It's
to
pretty
play
cool.
with it in my house.
Oh, man, because you don't want to know yet, right?
I don't, I'm not,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
thank
Can you
you.
get the hunky guy filter so whenever a ghost comes up, it just turns into a
It's
fireman?
just Jason Momoa. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, jeez.
Nope.
No comment. I do, have other things I have to do. I couldn't be playing with this all the time.
I could.
But it's fun. But, most of the time, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, again, like with anything, you have to debunk because it will try to map.
Where you just stated false positives. What's called false positives.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Emma. But when I did turn it on, it did really briefly map something in the back corner over there.
Can we? Cause
You ready to hunt now?
Yeah, it's getting a little late.
Let's do it.
Not
Come
an
on.
issue,
What
but
are we waiting for?
I can disconnect the video camera and sort of follow you.
Go
with
handheld.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah,
All right,
let's do it. Let's do it. And the stick figure that it mapped in the beginning did not come back. And a lot of times the false positive stick figures will be really weird looking, really long, or really unusual. So it's fun when you get one that looks normal. Where did my little... Gotta have a pink one. So the fun thing would be to let folks see.
There's a little bit of back room there.
You don't
but we don't use that
necessarily
often.
need to go to a lot
To
of
a weird
places.
spot.
See how it just mapped that box right there for a second?
Yeah.
See that?
So what are the lines doing?
So it's trying to make sense out of what's there. And so,
There's a dead body there.
well, this is the corner it mapped earlier, but it mapped up higher. So
Does the I'm a little bit colorblind. Is that blue? Is that?
that's the stick figure screen, and we can change it to infrared.
Okay.
The colors don't really matter so much as just trying to figure out. So see how that changed quite drastically. Well, either it's mapping something in the environment, it's trying to make sense out of it, or there's something there. I'm gonna go on the side that it's
Step
mapping.
dancing, I can tell. It's
Yeah.
pink purple.
If it moves or if it responds intelligently, then we can assume that it's not just trying to make sense out of something in the wall. There's a lot, there's a lot of EMF in here.
Well, there's
Just so you guys
power
know.
lines right across the wall.
But there's a lot.
There's plugs above and below you.
Yeah, I've never seen it do this. So it's still mapping the corner. So what I would do is say, is there someone standing in the corner? Can you move out of the corner?
Go after Charles. Get him.
And so nothing's happening, so I would say that's just a false positive. I don't think that's anything there.
So it's not a dead body in the wall.
No, it's not.
But you would generally, with more time, probably combine this with the recorder, with some of the other tools in your toolbox,
Yeah,
right?
I would usually use the EMF, but the EMF is really triggered in here.
Yeah.
So,
And your,
but this
the
is
breaker
another
box is
reason
right there,
why we turn off the lights and the power when we go
so
somewhere.
you shut everything down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to shut the breaker, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
usually just cutting the lights will help reduce the EMF unless it's like leaking from somewhere.
Yeah, it's certainly moving around.
It definitely thinks that there's something there. It doesn't, again, it does not mean that there is.
Yeah, it's the broom.
If you want to bring the cat ball, if you want to bring the cat ball over, you can put it here. So this is one
Which
way.
one, the cat ball?
Yep, because the cat ball won't be affected by
Oh,
any
that's
of the
right.
other.
Oh yeah, you got the big air conditioner right there. It's here.
Where would you like it?
Just stick in the corner, but I moved the broom, and we don't have a stick figure anymore. But it's not even sticking out. There we go.
You might have to slow the board. Do we have a level?
I'm pretty sure there's.
Pretty sure there's a slope.
I'm pretty sure there's a slope because this is an
I
old
should bring
building.
the leveler. I have XY leveler. See if there's a slope.
I actually have something in my purse. If I wanted to dig it out, I could. So we'll let the cat ball stop, because look at this. So flashlights are like a mag light where you have to turn the end to make it work. Those are a really fun tool to use. Can somebody, if there's somebody with us, can you touch our little ball that we just put on the floor in the doorway? If you touch it, it'll light up. And that'll let us know you're here. So now we know how hard we have to stomp. Oh, this is kind of big back here.
Yeah.
Hey, Charles, you want me to tell you what?
It's up to.
Yeah, good try. No, it's still really noisy.
Yeah, the floor is really uneven.
It made us like it was not enough.
So let's change this to we can go to infrared. And
There's a lot of lights in this room too.
What is the pink back there?
I'm not sure. I don't really know exactly how it maps the different colors. But it might have to do with depth.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still kind of learning how the software works. The software is meant to work for this specific purpose. So see,
So now it's trying to map top.
so it mapped him, and it's really cool when you see it like this.
It's very bizarre.
It's
Man, Todd, you are like, your legs are going crazy. I've never seen you move so much.
yeah, it's interesting. So if a stick figure were to pop up right now, because we can see, you can see the little glowing dots. That's the Kinect sensors.
Oh, reaching out. and
Yeah,
bouncing back.
they're infrared, so we can't see them with our eyes,
You
which
might be
is
able to see
super
with
cool.
that, though.
You might if you put on night vision or IR,
Doesn't really
but
have
it will
IR on
also
this.
they'll probably fight.
No, but if you were to point the camera at the front of that, you would see the
Yeah.
infrared lights.
Yeah.
So the best thing is you can carry this around and you can walk, but like you guys saw, it kind of takes a second to map something, even when you know there's someone there. So the best thing, okay, did you see how that just appeared out of nowhere?
Yeah.
So you caught on camera that
Yeah.
we have been staring at this corner for quite some time.
Right.
And now it's mapping something that it was not mapping previously.
It looks
So
like maybe right on that ladder or something.
Someone trying to climb the ladder.
Well, then you ask a question, right?
yeah, normally we would ask yes or no questions with the EMF,
Dancing.
but we can potentially use the cat ball. Do you want to grab the cat ball?
What is it?
This would also be a good time to break out the spirit box and ask questions.
Is it unusual for it to be moving so much if it's
No,
just a
it's-
stationary
Where
object?
do you want me to put it?
I mean, well, you saw when we put it over there
Right.
and it mapped the big scrolling
Oh,
thing,
right.
it didn't move at all.
Yeah.
If you want to put it, yep, Emma's got it. So see how it's mapping, now it's gone because it's mapping her. So it could be a false positive. But we consider that we had been mapping that for quite several minutes.
Right.
And it wasn't grabbing onto that ladder before. So the fact that it just appeared, so we'll just do this. So we just put a ball in the corner and that ball will light up. If you touch it, you might have to touch it kind of hard. But we would love to know that someone's here with us. So if it's possible for you to tap or push the ball, we would love to see it light up. Or maybe you could come join us. I'm going to change my position again to see if I can recreate the circumstances where we got that stick figure. I think I was roughly here, right? And it is not generating, it's not mapping the ladder.
Right.
So I think y'all have a ghost. Just kidding.
Well, I mean,
It's not that easy for me, but it is interesting because now we've attempted to debunk it. We've repositioned ourselves. We've moved. And we can't get it to recreate the same instance.
So non-conclusive.
Yeah, I would say it was non-conclusive as evidenced by itself. So if we were to get something else. So I think what we could do is try doing an EVP session,
which
is with the digital recorder.
oh, okay.
So that thing is virtually useless here because there is a lot of EMF in this building. So I'm going to keep it on the corner. We have a camera on the corner by the refrigerator. So if you come back, we can see you. The hard part about this is not feeling stupid when you're talking to the air.
Well, it's just
But,
like
I mean,
fishing.
yeah.
Most of the time, you're standing on the
You're just
bank.
standing
All,
there.
all that is speaking out loud, and there's nothing stupid about that.
Right, it's mostly just sitting and drinking beer.
I do that all the time, man. I'm ADHD. I talk to myself all the time because who else is gonna listen?
Yeah, but you're talking to yourself.
Oh, it's Charles. I was like, it's mapping something. Oh wait, no, it's not you.
Do you have another cat ball?
Did
Do you have
the
another-
ball go off?
No, we want another one.
Oh.
It's mapping something. And I thought it was
It's
you.
open all four. Okay, that thing is still, well, it's calmed down a little bit. You took it over there and it was pretty excited, right?
Look at that.
What, is it mapping? Oh, hi.
Welcome back.
Can you touch our little ball? Where'd you put the ball,
It's on the
dear?
ladder.
Oh, it's on the
Oh, it's fine
ladder.
now.
Oh, it keeps going. This is creepy.
Oh, that's you.
Just a
This is
bouncer
me.
back there. That's the
I know, but it feels creepy
Yeah.
to me.
That's super weird.
We were talking about feelings. I'll still
and you're
go
getting
in
some
there.
feelings.
Okay, we have is that in front of the camera though? So let's move it over this way just a little bit.
For those watching, we're doing an active investigation inside the building here in Renton, Washington.
Oh,
No.
there's the floor.
Yeah. We gotta get a slope out.
I have a little thing I have a little dish that is perfect for that. So we're gonna try, we're gonna try an EVP session. So we wanna try not to move around too much so that we minimize background noise. And then hopefully we'll pick up the cars. I'm gonna actually come over here. So I get like a heavy feeling. I feel a little anxious.
Yeah, that room kind of weirds me out too.
Yeah, maybe we should point the SLS this way, but
Do you want me to try point? So
No.
You're in the middle?
no, because this is a hot spot.
The
So
sensors is picking up you right now.
yeah, it should, but it won't matter. It'll pick up anyone. So even if it's picking up me, if something else were to stand next to me, it'll pick them up too. Okay, so I just heard your neighbors. I hope there's apartments above us.
Yes.
Okay, because I hear movement. Okay, so we're doing an EVP session, and I guess we'll start. Is there any?
10:30.
Is there anyone here with us? If there's anyone in this space with us, can you tell us your name? Did you live here? Did you live in this building? Maybe you worked here at one point? Can you tell us how old you are? Okay, I'm gonna stop there. If I can remember how. Okay. So we can play it back and see if we hear anything, but again, this would be better processed through like a computer where we can see the WAV files, figure out how to play it.
Okay, because I hear footsteps, I hear movement. Okay. So we're doing an EVP session, and I guess we'll start. Is there anyone here with us? If there's anyone in this space with us, can you tell us your name? Did you live here? Did you live in this building? Maybe you worked here at one point? Can you tell us how old you are? Okay, I'm gonna stop there.
So I did not hear anything. I don't know how to work this thing, and I'm
In the dark?
Yeah, or in the light. I'll use that as my excuse. So if we were here on an actual investigation, we would take our time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, just because, but like I said, a majority of it is boring and nothing happens, so you find other ways to entertain yourself. But when you see like the TV shows or the YouTubers or whatever, they're spending 6 or 8 hours at a place.
And then editing.
And then editing it to
Yeah.
where they have the action and the good stuff.
Yeah.
So this gives you an idea of what it's like. But
Yeah, no, this is
the
helpful.
point is just because, I mean, I feel like that is really interesting to me. That we
Yeah.
caught 2 stick figures, and if it was continually mapping in the same spot, then I would say that that's nothing, that's a false positive. But the fact that it's not,
It moved. Yeah.
yeah. So I would say the last thing we could do for funsies is to do an Estes session. So does anybody feel like being blindfolded and connected?
Volunteers? We got a volunteer.
All right. I can take my glasses off. That effectively makes me blind.
Do
right?
your headphone. You don't actually have to be blindfolded. It really, what it helps is the sensory deprivation helps you to hear better, right? Because they say when you lose one sense, it makes your other senses stronger. Do you guys have any headphones that would plug into a
Is it just-
normal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a normal, wherever
Yeah.
it is, headphone jack. Because I know some of the recording equipment ones are bigger.
These are
Your Techspert?
Yes, TM.
It's so weird though, because it felt like when we went over here and then came back is when the stick figures started showing back up again.
They're over here, so.
Okay, but you're gonna be the one wearing it.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll turn it on.
And we do know that Jeff spends the night down here sometimes in his little tent, so.
Does he hear anything?
Yeah, but we've never had this conversation about it too, so. It's not, something you're like, hey Jeff, when you're down here, do you ever, but I'm gonna ask him next time I see him.
Okay.
He probably won't want to know.
Well, he's out here, right?
He's out there though, yeah.
He's not in here.
I would think so.
Alright. I'm live streaming to the Facebook page.
Okay, so I can't hear you guys very well.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I was just testing it. You might be able to hear that we're talking, but you shouldn't be able to hear what we're saying. Now, when you're listening to this, don't overthink it.
Okay.
So you're gonna wanna try to, you know you're hearing words and you're gonna wanna try to make them words. Just repeat out loud anything you hear that you think is a word.
Okay.
And don't be worried about it, don't overthink it, just say it.
Okay.
No matter how ridiculous it
Okay.
sounds.
Yeah.
Even laughter, like if you're laughing.
Yeah, laughter, numbers. So make sure your ears are fully covered. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? Okay, so we're doing an ESTA session, meaning he can't hear the questions I'm asking. He can only hear the radio. So if there's anybody here in the space with us, if you talk to the radio my friend is holding, we can hear words that you're saying. We would love to know what your name is. We're nice. Is it mapping?
Legit, this just sounds like, remember when the dinosaurs changing channels on Toy Story? That's what it sounds like. Pop, 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 pop.
Can you tell us your name? So it's not mapping him.
You don't have enough of him.
No.
Sense?
It's mapping.
Or sense?
There you go. Get all of them in there.
Can you tell us your name? We would really like to know your name. Yeah, it's definitely.
Like?
Do you like having company?
Good?
You think it's good to have someone who can talk to you?
Almost?
How long have you been here? So it's mapping someone right next to him.
I heard a growl.
Okay. Are you upset that you're stuck in this building? It looks like it's touching you.
8?
8 years? Have you been stuck here for 8?
4?
Are you touching my friend?
Eve?
Are you reaching for the radio?
Real?
Can you tell us your name? Do you see that? You might have to tell him more than once.
Can you have him back up a little bit to get the full field in there? Or can you back up to get the full field in there? Because right now we only have half of our.
It's not
computer.
mapping him,
No, I know.
so it doesn't matter.
If you pull it back, though, will it? You see
It's a lot of static in music.
Can you try telling my friend your name?
Try changing angles. Like come over here a bit here.
Reserve?
Are you a little shy?
Here.
Pretty?
Do you think my friend is pretty?
Practice?
We would really like to hear your name, so we know who we're talking to.
Come over this way. Like try that angle to the room, that angle, and this angle. Try over here. And then try closer over there to see if you can get to map the full body of our questionnaire.
I think it said thanks.
What's this?
That's just the eyebrow line.
Difficult?
We would still really like to know your name.
So you mentioned 4 and 8. Say years or decades?
Go ahead, you can ask.
Please?
Oh, look at that.
How long
Look
have
at
you been here? 4 years or 4 decades? How old are you?
Do you see it?
Was 4 your years of age or 8?
What do you suppose that is?
Hey?
Is your name Tay? Or Taya? And now it's gone. I didn't know.
How old are you?
Chris?
Is your name Chris?
Critic?
Okay, that's weird. Are you a child?
Not.
You're not a child? Are you a teenager?
What is your age?
Chris?
Chris, how old are you?
He might have been told.
Please?
It's just really hard to pick up. So,
Staff?
Were you part of staff here at one point? Did you work here?
can you stand next to our friend? Are you tired? Do you want to go now? Do you want us to go now?
W?
Is that W? W?
I thought it might have been Dummy.
W?
Yeah, we're just calling,
Can't
we're just
make
calling
that.
each other names.
No, we can't make that up. Doesn't make sense.
So usually after we go a little while with no responses, then we'll take a break.
Just feel like it's pushing too hard or something.
Well, the theory is that it takes energy to do this.
Oh.
And so, energy might get drained. And for that reason, we always bring extra batteries whenever we go anywhere
Yeah,
and make
makes
sure
sense.
everything's fully
Yeah.
charged. So I think we're probably done.
And I didn't write anything down because,
Well, he
this is
recorded
like-
it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
typically we'll bring a notepad and we'll just write words down.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
think we're good. His ears would probably appreciate it, right? It's really hard to listen. It's really hard to listen
The
to.
mapping's still there. I mean, it's
All right, you're good.
interesting.
What about this?
How many of us do you see?
So were you able to hear us at
Now
all?
I see the
I
shadow
heard you guys were
pattern
talking, but I
again,
couldn't tell
but
what
you're
you're-
being
Yeah, I couldn't determine nor. Does anyone want to try it just to see what it's like?
Yeah, why don't you guys try? 'Cause
You really should. It's
I
fun.
think the
Go ahead, Mike.
there's a lot of things that were said that. Come on, Mike.
Are you scared? No. Okay.
All the other kids are doing it.
Yeah, we're the cool kids, man. My headphones might be a little sweaty though.
Peer pressure, peer pressure. So let's calibrate it really quick. So can you take a
There
look?
you go.
Do you see me?
Um,
Can we have another person walk out here, stand next to me? Here we go. What do you see? Do you see two?
okay, I think it's mapping you. Now it's mapping both of you.
Okay, so
And whatever was there next to Todd earlier is no longer there.
There was something next to me.
Oh yeah, I was touching you.
It could have been because I'm live streaming.
It could have been that it was having trouble mapping him.
oh, now it's next to Tara.
Oh,
Is there something next to me?
Yeah, it looks to be about
Small?
small. Less
Yeah, there was definitely a small one next to you.
This.
Yeah.
size,
There was definitely a small one next to you.
Look
so-
at that.
You'll have to watch back the video, but you did actually give us.
It looks like it's sitting down.
I don't know. It looks like it could be an animal.
Maybe, yeah, it was really small. We thought maybe it was a child. Pretty crazy, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
Did you hear any words?
You hear a lot of words.
Nothing that's
Nothing
stuck out.
intelligible.
Seriously.
Is it still there?
it is.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to touch you.
Okay, I'm gonna put this,
Reaching
I'm gonna
over
put
to
this
you.
on, and maybe
You wanna do it?
Maybe you could do like, how would you interact with an animal or a dog?
Is
or
this
a
the
cat?
side that it's on
getting
where I'm
bigger.
reaching out?
It's,
Is that the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
it's
It seems
reaching-
like it's stretching occasionally.
It's reaching out. It's trying to reach. It's trying to like.
Can you touch my hand? It's okay for you to touch my hand.
It's trying.
fortune.
And also, my lady friend can hear you if you talk to her. Oh, I just got a weird. See, that's the anecdotal stuff. Or
It's from your
Probably
sensor
just-
thing. It looks like it's trying to touch you.
it's probably just my brain. But
I mean, it's reaching out several times.
can you tell us your name? Can you say your name to my lady friend Emma?
Speaks. Heard a buzzing.
Yeah, a lot of static.
Is your name Chris? Can you tell her the name Chris?
That was the name I heard 3 times, or at least 2 times.
It's the ultimate. That's sweet.
We would still really like to
Fire.
know how old you are. If there's someone in here with us, can you tell us how old you are?
Looks like you've fallen and I can't get up. Sorry.
What happened to the cat ball?
Nick.
Nick? Is your name Nick? I'm probably gonna make it.
To the.
Oh, you just walked through and it
Yep.
disappeared.
There's a guitar in here.
Yeah, it's Mike's.
Sit.
I have a ball. It lights up.
From 8 to 8.
When it stops
If
blushing, If you touch it, if you step on it,
Human?
that will let us know that you're with us.
Not.
You're not human? You trying to scare us? Can you step on the ball that I just put on the floor? Step on it as hard as you can.
It's. Careful.
Right there.
Is it mapping anything?
Mom?
Now don't get insulting.
Not mapping anything but you right
Professor.
now.
That's fine. Come closer. Come closer to what? Can you come stand by me again?
8.
What's the second time we got 8?
Is that their age, you wonder?
I don't wonder because when we ask for an age, that's not when we get a number.
Oh, okay.
So I want it to happen when we ask.
Today.
Can you step on my ball, please? If you step on it, it'll light up.
Mike.
Didn't you guys say there's
There.
someone named Mike? Oh,
This.
do you know Mike?
It's too young.
Is it a baby? Is there a baby in here?
Come, Ruth.
Can you step on my ball?
Trust. Do you want me to go on? I don't know if that made any sense.
Nothing's showing up mapping wise except for you, so.
Okay, so it's probably done.
Probably went to bed?
I went to bed.
I
Just
went
like we
to bed.
should.
So really quickly, I'm gonna just take it back there
Yeah.
where I'm just feeling
It's
some
just
vibes.
bathroom on the left and then the downstairs doors off to the right. So it's not
So
a huge
if
space.
you look right here, you can tell it's mapping the door frame.
Oh, okay.
But what is freaking me out about it, because I actually do feel a little freaked out, is how human-like it looks. So earlier when it was mapping that corner, remember it was
Right.
really weird and stretched out, but that looks like how it looks when it was mapping one of us.
Yeah.
But then
Oh,
as I
that's-
move it, you can see how it gets funky. So I'm gonna try to get it to map Emma. Yeah, it's not mapping Emma. Now it's mapping you. Okay, and it jumped off the door frame. So,
It's the.
Focus.
I'm pretty sure it was just the door frame, but it freaked me out just a little bit.
I'm gonna grab the
Wait,
cat.
hold on to something.
Is there anybody back here in the bathroom?
It's warm back there. You want your poor plant?
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for her to chastise somebody about the plant.
Oh, Mike waters it every week, but
I knew she would. She's a
but
gardener.
man,
So there's nothing coming up on the SOS. So it's not mapping anything.
nothing back in the
No.
fantastical creepy place. Yeah, so that's where I wanted to get us, is through that door right there.
Oh my
'cause I
gosh,
think that
that's the
leads
basement
down.
door?
I think so.
And it's so creepy
But-
when it's blocked up by stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so it's mapping both the views. This is your last chance. We're about to leave. Your last chance to let us know you're here. If you come and stand right in front of me, or stand by this black sink, I can pick you up on my camera. I think we're done.
All right.
Down the block.
That's just pretending that.
But and at the same time, you're picking up something paranormal close
So
by.
just like anything that you want to investigate further, you would triangulate through different days,
Yeah.
different times, swap out, equipment and batteries, do different angles.
The scientific method.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal because we're trying to get something real. We're not just trying to get something.
Yeah. Well, guys, we super appreciate you coming down
Yes.
and spending some time with us. This has been great. No, you're fine. It's probably picking up enough.
I've
that-
turned those off already.
Okay, good. Well, you know what? That was fun.
Awesome.
It's always fun. Again, at the end of the day, it's entertainment.
Well, it's a hobby, right?
When I
So
say
it's something you can have a
haunted-
vested interest in, guilt-free. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Not enough data yet to
Not
determine that.
tonight. Catch me on another night. Let's get in that basement. That makes me feel really creeped out. That might be good for There you go.
Get you into
You guys have been initiated.
McClendon's. Yeah. Thank you guys. And so we'll probably put this out Tuesday. We had a regular episode that we did already, so we'll probably just have this one go side by side with it. And yeah, let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah.
When are you performing next?
Oh, we have to look at our calendar. Let's see. I don't know. You're asking me right now.
What do you mean you don't know?
September 1st, we have our tumbleweed. We just did 2, so let me take you to our website. We should pretty updated. We're busking this weekend, Saturday in Kirkland.
Nice.
And let's see, we'll show you Dublin Abbey.
How many band members?
We have a Peace Festival coming up on the 28th of this month. So we're on the 17th now? 9/21.
Yeah, something like that.
We have, that's next Sunday, not this Sunday.
Is that Volunteer Park? Where's that?
Yes, volunteer.
That's a good one.
So here's our website. And then-
DublinAlley.com, right?
And then here is our upcoming shows. And we just did Sirens, we did JP's, and we're Volunteer Park, the 25th. I think we're at Discovery. And we have Tumbleweed Festival for September.
Nice.
And then busking is.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Nice. Can we help you out with anything? You good?
It's not like a whole band, we don't really have that much.
Yeah.
Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you think this episode is worth $1 or $5, the boys would love to have it. Please go to ourtownpod.store for merch or to donate now. For less than a cup of coffee, you can also join the website in the member-only area for exclusive bonus content, blogs, and more. It's just $3 a month or $30 a year. Thank you for listening to this production of Our Town Podcast Extraordinaire.